Well, President Trump, who's cast himself as the only person capable of achieving peace in Gaza, has invested significant political capital in efforts to end what is a 2-year-old war, which has killed many tens of thousands. Let's get more on this from political analyst Joe Siracusa, who joins me live from Melbourne. Welcome, Joe. On the surface, this is great because you've got Hamas agreeing to a peace deal and giving up essentially their only leverage, which is the hostages. But they are doing it on the condition that there is going to be discussion of all the details of what comes next. So are we actually any closer to a ceasefire deal? Because that's where all the significance lies, isn't it, in the negotiations of what comes next?
Yes. Good morning, Neil. Well, look, as you know, from many years of looking at these things, the devil is always in the detail. I don't think we're any closer to peace today than we were 6 months ago. There are items in President Trump's peace plans that haven't really been discussed. He's talking about amnesty for Hamas. He's talking about free passage for those Hamas leaders who want to go away somewhere. I mean, in what world would the Netanyahu cabinet allow these people to disappear after being engaged with them for this period of time? Look, in many ways, President Trump is motivated by the Israelis' attack on Qatar. You know, he's very angry about that. He's putting the heat on Netanyahu. But as you know in your coverage, there's nothing he's ever done to Netanyahu or the previous president to get him to stop from doing anything. You know, it's still a blank check. What President Trump wants here is he wants either the credit for the release of the hostages, many of whom are dead, God knows what shape the others are in, or he wants the off-ramp. He wants to be able to say to the American people, he did his very best. It's the opprobrium, the onus now rests on the Israeli government to finish this off. And, you know, Netanyahu has his own way of finishing this off. And as you also mentioned in your package, there's all these contradictions. Netanyahu's not going to let the Palestinians back in, and he's not going to let Hamas doesn't want the Palestinians back in. The Palestinian government doesn't want anything to do with Hamas. I mean, a lot of this stuff goes nowhere. I mean, this reminds me a lot of the twos and fros in the 5-year negotiations between the North Vietnamese and the United States government, which took place in Paris. I mean, this has got a long way to go. But this idea that we're on the verge of peace, after all, how Gaza has been destroyed, education, commerce, finance, health. I mean, the place is a basket case.
Joe, I just want to ask you, was this quite a smart move from Hamas? Because essentially, President Trump had put them in a corner and was threatening to actually ratchet up the military assaults upon them if they did not agree to a deal. So, essentially what they've said is, yeah, we agree, we'll give you your hostages, but we need to talk about all these major issues. So, I mean, was that quite a smart diplomatic move from them?
Yeah, I think it was a brilliant move. Obviously, the Hamas has friends in Qatar who told them to call the president's hand. They're asking to see his cards. I mean, it's a brilliant move. Instead of just stonewalling him for the 100th time, or stonewalling the process, they said, okay, we'll do this, but show me your cards on these other things. And so Trump's got to pony up some explanations here. And Netanyahu, of course, wants nothing to do with this. I mean, he looked very pained after his White House visit, as a matter of fact. But it was a brilliant move because what it does is it calls President Trump's bluff, asking him to put up or shut up after this. And so Trump will be looking for ways to get out of this. But in many ways, Trump's trying to get out of this. This is sort of his off-ramp. As you remember, a month ago, 2 months ago, he says, you know, this is going to end very quickly. Well, it hasn't ended very quickly, and it's not ending very well for the people of Gaza. But I think it was a brilliant move on Hamas's part. I don't know who's calling the shots there, but they asked us, they called to see his cards, and President Trump says, well, now the cards are on the table. And of course, Netanyahu now is holding the bag. He's got to come up with something to look even worse than he is. Though in many respects, Neil, I don't think President Netanyahu could look any worse than he already is.
Appreciate the analysis, Joe. As you said, I suspect we still have a long way to go on this, ironing out the details of this peace deal. Joe Siracusa is my guest. Thank you.
Thank you.